to the goofball army out there. Hi, the families. Tell them to get to the next room. Tell them to go to your neighbors because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, oof.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Robin. Oh my, what a reactionary Monday.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't heard, Daboll's gone. Daboll's gone. Oh, yes.
Listen,
hey, the New York Giants.
Rumor has it that Joe Schoen and Mayor heard the podcast. They almost fired Daboll on the shitter on the plane last night.
I don't think
they decided to give him a little bit of humility and come back home and find somewhere else to live before they gave him the pizza.
Considering how much crap we talk about Joe Schoen, I really doubt he's listening to the show. Oh my gosh! But yeah, guys. So we'll give you the quick. We already did a breaking news one on this afternoon here. Appreciate all that we're popping in from that as well. But Daboll officially gone. Schoen is staying. No signs of him leaving anytime soon. Kafka is the interim head coach for the rest of the season. And then no news on Bowen. He's going to be sticking around, but they did say that Kafka has full say on the staff going forward. So that means basically ship up or shape out is where I'm taking that. So give another week or two. The next game he costs us, he'll be out.
Let's hope so.
Like it is. But yeah, guys, we got a lot to go over here. We got 10 coach candidates we're going to give you guys here. So we're gonna start breaking it down right now. All right, now before we get started with the actual candidates that we're going to go over today, we're going to go over who we did not include. Okay, we are not including anybody who currently is a head coach in the NFL.
Look at you, Harbaughs.
Oh yeah, listen, I would take John Harbaugh in a freaking heartbeat. Like, sign me up. But I don't think the Ravens are getting rid of him. I would take Mike Tomlin in a heartbeat. I don't think the Steelers are giving up on him either. So I don't want to include people that is not legit. Though I did throw one wild card in the 10. I will say that. I did throw a wild card in. We're also not including two people that I think are ridiculous to even talk about, to be very frank. Antonio.
Well, there's a lot of people have been. Those names have been out there. It's ridiculous.
Antonio Pierce literally was a defensive coordinator at Arizona State, got booted from the NCAA, a linebackers coach in at Vegas there, and becomes the head coach for 1 year and bombs out there. I'm sorry, that's not a legitimate candidate. If he was a legitimate coach, he'd have a job somewhere right now. Like I don't buy that one for a heartbeat. And listen, I think we as Giants fans, and I said to a couple people, and I think they kind of paused and took it in, I hope. We as Giants fans love our ex-players, especially once in those championship seasons, so much that we can't be unbiased when talking about them. And I feel like Antonio Pierce goes into that category. Like,
he does.
Great player. Appreciate everything he did for us. But the resume is not there to be a potential head coach for the New York Giants. Not with the team we have. This is not the last couple of times where it's like we got to get whoever we can get, basically. Which is like, we got like Shermer, for example, or Joe Judge. Like, we just got whoever would take the job, basically. Like, this is a hot commodity job this year, guys. Get the best possible candidate. Don't settle because the guy won a Super Bowl ring with you as a linebacker.
Yeah, and the firing happened like mid-season. So
Yeah.
it's anyone's job out there like that wants it. Like
Yeah.
people like
And there will be a lot.
quote unquote like start inquiring about the job.
Yeah. And they should interview immediately. Point blank.
Yeah.
Should interview immediately. There's no reason to wait to the end of the season. The other
Unless
guy
you're
we're
in the
not
playoff run.
that one guy we're not going to include as well is Steve Spagnuolo, Spag. So I know, listen, potentially you could say one of the greatest, if not the greatest defensive coordinator of all time. I don't think he wants the job, guys, is where it's at. Like, listen, if he wants to come in for an interview, I'm happy having the conversation, but he didn't work out very well with us when he was the interim coach, again, after, inheriting a bad situation after McAdoo, went 1-3. But was a head coach in Seattle back when the Rams played there, which sounds weird now. The Seattle Rams, I'm sorry, Seattle, St. Louis Rams. Yeah, Seattle Rams wouldn't sound weird. Played it at all. The St. Louis Rams, but it sounds weird. The St. Louis Rams now. But
So long ago.
I know that was back when they got what's his name, the last big quarterback that got paid, Sam Bradford. The Sam Bradford days we're going back to. Yeah, that's how far back we're going. But
yeah,
he didn't do good there either. So I don't know. He's had two things on his resume as being a head coach. To me, I think he's getting up there in age where he goes, you know what? I'm just going to be a DC, and whenever Andy Reid hangs it up, I'll just hang it up with him and move on.
It's also he's getting up there in age. I agree with you. And part of the thought process, why would I want to go away at something that I'm probably going to leave a legacy in and be one of the best in the categories to try to do something I did not succeed in twice.
That's, you know what? I'll tell you point blank. The way you see somebody would is ego. And I don't think Spag has that ego. He doesn't strike me as that guy that's got that ego. So that's what I'm saying. I think point blank, he rides his time out with the rest of the Andy Reid tenure in Kansas City, and he moves on. And he retires and goes to the Shady Acre Farm to that point and, calls it a day.
In Missouri.
it's not just barbecue.
Yeah.
But
St. Louis ribs, if you will.
Yeah. So again, Spags is one of those guys. People bring him up because of the history with the team, because they go back to that 07 Giants. Guys, 07, think about that. We're talking almost 20 years ago.
That hurts to say out loud.
Like I said, he's not a legit candidate, so we're not going to include him. Now, I will say this. Of the 10 people we included, some of them are just as BS almost to me to a certain degree, to be very frank with you. But I got to bring him up because people keep asking about him. And there is more legitimacy than there is to Spags. And the first guy definitely fits that bill.
Oh, I see what you did.
Could the Giants really bring back Bill Belichick home? The legend who built the 1986 defense might have one more run left. Would ownership be willing to pay out his $25 million buyout? Let's talk about it here, guys. And first off, that I admit freely, AI helped me put the Giants hat and shirt on him, but oh my God, he looks like somebody's about to yell at you to get off your lawn. Like, it's bad.
He looks like a gay ant.
God. Now, listen, do I have to go over the resume with him? Like, do I really have to? Like,
no.
I guess we'll do it real quick here. He's with the University of North Carolina currently, not doing well. Former Patriots head coach, obviously from 20 to 23. Browns head coach 91 to 95. We got 2 Super Bowl titles with us as a defensive coordinator, with Bill Parcells 86 and 90, and I think he got a couple while he was in New England, if I'm right, as well. Just a couple.
Just a few. He went full Thanos and then some.
Yeah, he's got more than Thanos. Yeah, he's got one for each finger, minus his thumb. I think he's got 8 now, right? Does he? Or is it 5 with New England? He's got 7. I don't know. Either way, he's got a shitload of freaking.
Tom had 7. He had 6.
Okay, so 6 plus the 2 with the Giants. He's got 8.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I think the issue with him really is everything going on outside of football. This girl that's, his 24-year-old girlfriend that, listen, I'm not knocking the guy. He's 73 years old and he's got a 24, 25-year-old girlfriend, whatever. They're both consenting adults. I think we know what he's getting out of the deal. So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know what she's getting out of the deal.
Yeah. I mean, she's got multiple properties he's bought for her and stuff like that. And let's be honest, Bill Belichick is not the guy that's going out and buying, all kinds of crazy, Gucci suits. They make suits of Gucci. I don't know, Louis Vuitton or whatever. Like, he's not buying Armani stuff. Like, he's not, buying all this crazy stuff. So I don't think there's anything crazy going on as far as that part like that. That is what it is. She's a gold digger. He's getting what he wants, and that's all there is to it. But ever since she's been around, it's been a circus with him. And besides the age issue, which, let's be honest, 73 years old. That's a concern right there. But then you also have the fact that she's in there. That's an issue because she's caused issues everywhere she went with him.
I was going to say, anytime you go to a North Carolina game where they're home, she's in the stands and she gets just as much press time, like camera time, as Bill does.
Well, you know why? It's because of the story. Let's be honest.
100%. But
I'm going to say it this way. I'm
trying to get at that. Like, that's something that in New England he did not put up with. Like, keep your personal shit to the side, keep everything else to the side. Let's focus on the game. And what's going on now? He's allowing his personal life to go out there and exploit everything, and his head's not in the game.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a circus that I don't think people want to deal with, point blank. And it's not her fault that he sucks as a coach in UNC. Like, let's be honest here, that's not what it is. But that's got to become part of the equation now with them, because point blank, there's issues. Like there's issues overall with what's going on. They're 2-3, and there's a circus. You could be really, really good and have a circus, and people will tolerate that. Like, you're bad and you have a circus? No.
You get kicked to the curb real fast.
And listen, great career. 302 wins in the NFL, 31 career wins in the postseason. Lily was the architect of our defense along with Parcells. They worked hand in hand on it there, but of two championship teams which were strong on defense. That's what it was all about, was defense. But that's where it's at. I worry about him people wise too with the young players. He's a gruff guy.
He's a gruff guy who hasn't adapted to how you play football in the past 10 years.
Yep.
He modernized from the 86 time to 2006. You even give him to 2017 modernized, but he just gave up since then. And it showed even before Tom left. It showed. So, like, some people are like, who made who? They both made each other. Let's not fabricate what his career was. He was a very good coach.
Oh yeah,
Tom Brady's a very good, one of the best. Both of them, one of the best of what they've done. But Bill started letting go before Tom left. It showed, and it just came downhill, snowballed, because he didn't change his coaching style. Now you take the coaching style of the NFL, you probably try to bring it to college. It doesn't translate as well because it's a same game, different style. That's why a lot of college football players don't translate, because it's a little different of a move you have to do. You would think
the people issue in college too, though. The parents all dislike him, the players dislike him. Like, you got to be liked as a college coach. Think about the guys who are the best college coaches, like a Nick Saban, for example. Nick Saban would show up freaking, full on to your family's church on Sunday and then go have a barbecue with the whole family afterwards. Yeah, and he'd be part of the family. That's not Bill. He's not built for college.
No, and it's besides that, Bill was great for regular season because he could hold on to players for 5, 6, 7 years, depending on the position, and then have a good scout to go out there.
And people
realized that Belichick was not a good scout in his latter half of the career when he resumed all his positions. Like, that, he just was not a good scout going out there to college. You have to consistently do that as a college player. Like, you may have your stud now, You're not thinking about 2 years in the NFL, but your next quarterback. You have to do that in college because you're not going to be holding on to that talent. You have to consistently be that guy who's likable, that goes out, gets new talent, and keep going forward. I said Bill Belichick. He wants his players, he wants them to perform, and he wants them to do a job. Now you're talking to the guys that never had a job and want them to perform like they have had one.
I just think time has passed him. That's what it boils down to. And I don't want to be disrespectful because the guy is literally, you want to go down as one of the best, if not the best head coach in NFL history. But like I said, you see it now where, listen, he could be the worst people person in the world, which quite frankly he is. He's 2-3 in conference, 4-5 overall at UNC this year, guys.
Yeah.
That there's an issue there, and I think my biggest concern I have is that you look at what happened when they got Mac Jones, who's doing very well, by the way, now in San Francisco with a good offensive coach right now. And what they do? He's like, oh, it's your second year, Mac Jones. Enjoy your new offensive coordinators, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge.
Yeah.
That alone says I don't want Jackson Dart anywhere near him. Like that's where I'm at. Like, I don't want anywhere near him whatsoever. Like, I'm good. And I think, he'll probably, let's be put this way, if he wants an interview, he'll get one. And I think that Mara will do that out of respect for what he did in the past for the Giants. I really do think that. But I don't think he actually even comes close to sniffing this job. It'd be like doing it just as a courtesy. And to be very frank, it would help him because it puts his name out there. Because last year, all he got was the Falcons. That's the only people that actually looked at him was the Falcons.
And
actually,
at this point,
2 years ago, the Falcons.
At this point, how much help with the Giants organization? Listen to him talk. Would it actually help him come back to the NFL? I don't think that much. I don't think entertaining the idea. I think we've over-talked the idea of Bill Belichick coming here. I think we should move on because I think this is a silly conversation because it's just not going to happen.
I'm with you. So we're moving on. So let's talk about one of the biggest names here. Mike McCarthy has the resume, but is he the kind of coach the Giant fans would actually want? Or is he just a safe pick?
That's who you talk to.
It really does. And listen, we kind of talked about this a little when we did the episode about the firing of Daboll, and I said Mike McCarthy is almost like a better version of Marty Schottenheimer. He will get your team solid. He will get your team with a winning record. Can he win the Super Bowl with it? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Again, he's got the one in Green Bay. Don't get me wrong, but Aaron Rodgers. That's a once in a lifetime type of talent. As much as I dislike the guy personally, he's kind of a schmuck. It's a once in a lifetime talent. But he did good for a long time there in Green Bay. He did good in Dallas, I thought, as well, even though they didn't win this postseason. That's just a Dallas curse. I don't know what's going on there. But he got him to the playoffs almost every year, it felt like, and they were never an embarrassment of a team like we've been the last few years. He's definitely a big step up, I think, from Daboll. Plus, he's the guy that's already mentored a couple of quarterbacks in this league, in Aaron Rodgers, in Dak Prescott. He's got that experience. And whoever we get, because I know people are saying, oh, we have to get an offensive coach because of that. We don't necessarily have to get an offensive coach because of Dart. We do have to get a guy, though, that either has experience developing a quarterback or will bring somebody along that we have faith can develop a quarterback. And in this case, McCarthy does both.
Yeah. McCarthy's the guy that can get you to the dance, but not necessarily get you out to the dance floor.
Yeah.
No.
And what Jay
he might not even get you out of the dance, but he's a person that he'll get you there. We have not been to the dance that much in the past 10, 15 years. He'll take us there every year. He'll put you in double-digit wins.
Yeah.
Real fast.
It'll take probably 1 year, and within year two, probably we'd be like a 10-win team. I actually think that highly of McCarthy in that regard. I just think, like Jay said there, it's kind of a bad, it's kind of a failure with prime Aaron Rodgers to get just one ring. But we could say the same about Mike Holmgren. He got only one ring with prime Brett Favre, and yet people don't look at Holmgren that way. Partially because Holmgren succeeded in Seattle, and that's where people look at it too. So again, I think McCarthy's not a bad coach. I just don't think he's an A plus kind of coach. He's like a B plus A minus kind of coach.
Yeah, B plus.
No. And do you want to swing for the fences or do you want the safe pick? And I got to tell you guys, as much as we have failed, I want the safe pick because you can always build from there. But we got to get to that next step. And I have no doubt in my mind that Mike McCarthy can get us to the next step. It's just if he can get us to the step after that. And if he can't, listen, you part ways and at least you got better.
And you make the job more desirable to the next coach coming in. Like, hey, we're going to part ways because we want to improve on the team. Who thinks you could do better than Mike McCarthy? Like, hey, guys, 11 wins for the past 2 years. Not as good as he did in Dallas, but hey, we also only won 3 games the past 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm giving that one game this year.
All right. Let's get our next one going here. And this is another one that I don't hear a lot of people necessarily talking about, but I think it's a decent topic to think of here. Vic Fangio changed how NFL defenses play, but could he also change the Giants' culture? Listen, the guy's been a defensive coordinator in this league for a long time now. He's the defensive coordinator right now for the Eagles, which I love the fact that we can go ahead and steal from the Eagles and hurt them in the process. That's like a bonus for me.
Yeah.
He was the head coach for the Broncos, 19-21. He was the defense coordinator for the 49ers, Bears, Ravens. They literally named a defense after him, the Fangio shell coverage scheme. Like, that's how good of a defensive mind this guy is. Look at what they've done in Philadelphia with their pass rush. Maybe not this year because they're a little bit off, but the last year with them in the Super Bowl, look at the defense the way it was. They keep plugging and playing guys in, and they get everything rolling. Look at the talent
tonight.
Look at the talent we have. I don't even watch the game right now. What's going on?
It's like watching paint dry right now. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean he's that good. Now, if you go ahead and get him, and you get a good offensive coordinator kind of guy, then maybe that's not a bad thing. Now, he was underwhelming in Denver. I see Greg with the comment there, and he definitely was underwhelming. He's a little older. He's 67, so he's not exactly the young guy. But you bring in a guy that can get the most out of this defense, which has been underperforming to say the least. You get him to go ahead and groom a guy to follow him up in 3-4 years. And you get a plan going. He's 67. He's not 77. So, I think that you get him. Trust me, there's not going to be any 10-yard gap between the corner and the receiver to start off. It's not going to be 4 guys rushing and that's it, or 3 guys rushing and everybody else in coverage. We're going to prevent defense. Like, that shit ain't going to fly.
No, not at all.
And again, you hurt the Eagles. It's just such a nice added bonus. It really is. I think he wants another, another crack at being a head coach. I really do. And like I said, I'm not saying necessarily he is the guy. A lot of this, and part of the problem you run into is, well, you got to be there in the actual interview room to know who actually is your guy. They're not going to let us interview them for them. Though if Joe Schoen's interested, we're happy to oblige and, be an extra set of ears, though. But he'll probably, he can listen. He can sit around, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while he's waiting, and But
give the key points, Joe.
I just hoping to do Hard Knocks. He's eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich again. I really do.
Just sit in the back of your own. What did you have to say?
I wonder if he also likes Goober. Peanut butter and jelly in the jar to swirl together. It's very good. It's very good. But Vic Fangio, like I said, a little bit of an oddball pick. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him necessarily as a potential head coach somewhere. But this is to me, the perfect scenario. Because you can get him in there. You can get him with somebody who is interested in, being, a top flight coordinator. Well, How do you be a top play coordinator? You develop a quarterback. So you're setting somebody else up to be now a head coach. That's an attractive spot for somebody's young offensive mind to go to. And let them deal with Jackson Dart. Let them deal with the offense. Vic Fangio just deals with the defense and being the CEO type and having final say on the offense.
Yeah. Good leaders know how to delegate
Hold on.
their weaknesses.
Up, you there?
Yep, still here.
Okay. There you go.
I'm just saying good leaders know how to delegate their weaknesses. So
I muted my laptop because I made a sound from it, and it muted this instead.
nice.
So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm sorry. You were saying that everybody else heard you but me?
Yeah. So for the third time for everyone, I said a good coach, a good leader knows how to delegate their weakness. So Fangio, being on defense, let's get heavy on the defense. Oh, let's go get like McDaniels for the offense.
Oh God, I would love that.
I'll have the final say, but like let's not get too crazy. Let's develop this quarterback.
That would be an amazing spot there to get Vic Fangio for head coach. Let him pick his own DC because he has that ability, no problem. Let him go ahead and get Mike McDaniel, like you're saying, as the OC. Yeah, sign me up. I'm done. You hear what Mike McDaniel did, by the way, this week?
Yeah.
The bar thing. So apparently there's a bar in Miami, which, I mean, it's typical in Florida that you have bars set up for different teams. There's a bar that's specifically known for Buffalo Bills fans, and even a lot of the people that fly down for the game and stuff will actually go there as well because it's a Bills bar. He drove by there like 3 or 4 times, honking his horn, like sticking his head out the window, being an asshole to them.
Of course. He's like, I finally did it. I beat you guys. You guys have only had my number.
Absolutely insanity. But
he's only beat them once or twice, right? In his tenure.
Oh my gosh. All right. Next up, guys. Option number 4. Jesse Minter built Michigan's championship defenses. Is he ready to build the Giants next? Listen, if you can't have a Harbaugh, why not have the best thing and get a Harbaugh disciple? That's what we got here. Is the current defensive coordinator for the Chargers the last 2 years, was the defensive coordinator before that for the Michigan Wolverines during their championship run. Obviously, national title in 23 with them. Former Ravens assistant as well. Never been a head coach. Was actually was a little bit of a player. Was a defensive back over at Mount St. Joseph University, and I think he's like the most unknown. Like people like him because of the fact that he is a disciple of Harbaugh. People like him because they see his defense and is technically sound and people in the right spot and seems to be very well coached. But there's no controversies. But there's no like statements that are like, okay, I talked to this guy, he did this, and that's why I like him. He's that guy that like we don't really know who he is. You know what I mean? Like
you just see what he puts on the field. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. And as Greg just said, no experience as a head coach. That's the Achilles heel there. That's the one thing that worries me because I want a guy that I know can do it. You know, and this guy you don't know because he's never been a head coach, college or head coach in NFL, you know, like it's never been.
Yeah, this is the type of guy like you go up for him to take a shot and it's your HC. That's when you fire a bow and you go ahead and get a Fangio for your DC. You get some of the experience that's been in that line to go ahead and surround yourself with people that have been in that situation.
Yeah, and
if you want to take that gamble, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean,
you surround your season with people that you take a guy that hasn't been a head coach and let that person surround himself with people in a coordinator position that's been head coaches to give himself a little bit of that fluff, a little bit of that a little bit of courage to do some extra stuff, if you will.
You know, and I think the big thing with Minter is his age, though. He's 42 years old. So you go ahead and get a guy like this. Hypothetically, he'd be your coach for the next 20 years if he's good. Which, you know, let's be honest, it doesn't happen very often that guy's that good. But that's insanity.
The Talbots are out there. Belichick's are out there.
Get a guy and be his first stop and be there like that. And like I said, this is the guy I think more than anybody else on this list. The interview is probably the most important part because you want to see him outside of the John Harbaugh show. The Jim Harbaugh, wrong Harbaugh, and see what he does and get the real personality out of him. Not when he's at a mic talking to reporters, like literally you're in a room and you find out legit what he is. You know, I do think he's a good potential guy to bring in at the very least for an interview. I'd be disappointed that they didn't bring him in for an interview. Partially would, because to be very frank, and I'm going to put him and Fangio in the same exact boat. And people don't realize NFL teams do this, but I'm going to tell you right now, guys, NFL teams do what I'm about to say. Let's say you had an issue, okay, on a side of football. Like, let's say, hypothetically, the Giants issues on defense where the defense can't get things going. Now, let's say you had a head coaching position available and all the top defensive coordinators in the league are interested in talking to you about it. Wouldn't it make sense to pick their brains at that point on your defense?
100%.
This is what they're going to do. I'm telling you right now, guys. They're going to bring in everybody defensively to go ahead and pick their brains and find out what they would do with the defense. Because if you get the majority of your guys that you bring in for the interviews that are defense coordinator like wizards there, so to speak, and they all tell you the same goddamn thing, well, guess what? Now you know what your plan better be next year. Sometimes it's not about the interview. Sometimes it's about just picking their brain while you got them in the building.
100%.
And that happens quite often in this league. So, all right. Next up, we have another former New York Giant here. Lou Anarumo also knows what it means to wear Giants blue, but could he finish the job he started back in 2018 as an assistant with the Giants, trying to get us another ring here? Listen, he was kind of the scapegoat when it came to the Bengals and their defense. Goes to the Colts, and I think people have a different respect for what he's done now as a defensive coordinator. I think they also realized point blank he was dollar store shopping and they wanted, Whole Foods kind of produce. Like you can't do that when you can't build up a defense too much when you're paying $50 million per receiver, another $60 million for your quarterback. It's just not going to work. It is what it is. Again, another guy with no experience as a head coach, but he's been a coordinator now since 2019. Again, this is his first year with the Colts. Was our defensive backs coach back in 2018. Was a guy who actually interviewed for our head coaching job when we hired Daboll too, as well. And again, Mara loves bringing in people he knows. So,
yeah,
that's something that we know. So I think that you're going to see probably a situation where he comes in for an interview again, even if it's just a courtesy. I think there's going to be a couple courtesy interviews because, to be very frank, the Giants probably already know who they want. Same as most jobs. You kind of know who you want. You may do other things just to make sure you kind of went across all different avenues, so to speak, and you did the right thing you have to do. And keep in mind, there's also the Rooney Rule, so you have that thrown in there. But he's a guy that I think that at least gets an interview because of his history with the team there. Another guy, though, with no head coaching experience whatsoever, a guy that you really haven't seen on the offensive side of the ball whatsoever, so you kind of have to pick his brain and see what he's got there. But again, he's coming from the Colts, the team that literally fixed Daniel Jones. You don't think he might meet somebody there? He thinks, hey, the quarterback coach over here fixed Daniel Jones. I'll bring him with me. He'll be my new OC.
Oh my God.
I mean, let's be honest, like that's a possibility. Or you got the guy, what's his name in Tennessee that just got fired? He was the OC back when Anarumo was the DC in Cincinnati. Maybe he brings him back as his OC for the Giants. Let's be honest, the Bengals offense was doing pretty damn good with him back when he was an OC. So again, there's options. That's why I want to keep hearing people say, "Oh, well, you can't get a defensive guy, so you have to get a guy that knows knows how to groom a quarterback and set him up for success." It doesn't have to be the head coach, guys. You just have to have somebody there to do it. So Lou's going to get a shot.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the guy, but he's going to get a shot. Yeah. I think, but I don't think he's the guy. So, all right, We got 5 more to go, guys. Before we do, we're going to pay the bills real quick, and then we'll get back to the other 5 that we got here.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty, guys. Again, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button, tell a friend about the show. Otherwise, Rob gets sad and leaves, apparently. I don't know where he went off to. But yeah, we're gonna go into the next one here. So we got 5 more to go. Let's take a look here. Next up on the list here is a guy that's gotten a lot of looks in the last couple of years here. Joe Brady literally built the Joe Burrow's unstoppable LSU offense. Could he do the same for the New York Giants? And listen, it'd be an odd mix to go ahead and get the guy literally that replaced Brian Daboll as an OC to go ahead and replace Brian Daboll as an HC. Like that'd be a weird move, right? But that's literally a guy that you got to look at. He's considered one of the better offensive minds here. Again, had a great time over in LSU again, back with the Burrow days. Started off with a little rocky there, but then went to Buffalo and has looked pretty good as an OC ever since there. So last 2 years, he's been the OC for them. Spent 2 years in 20 and 21 being the OC over in Carolina as well. Passing game coordinator for the LSU Tigers there, where he got that title back in 2019. So, like I said, I don't think we go that route because that's a weird connection there. But let's be honest, Shane's going to stick around. I know we don't like that, but Shane's going to probably stick around. And if that happens, Shane has the knowledge to go into the building of Buffalo and say, hey, tell me all about Joe Brady. Now, he also had the same with Daboll, and you see how that worked out as well. But it wouldn't necessarily shock me to see something like that happen. He's got, like I said, he's got that pipeline connection Buffalo with Shane there. He got into a heated argument with Matt Rule, and that's what happened to end his tenure back in 21 with the Panthers. So I can't necessarily knock him on the Panthers time period he had with them because, to be honest, nobody's gotten along with Matt Rule. Like Matt Rule's kind of a jerk as a head coach for the Panthers and known to be. But this guy is known to be a great schemer for offense. He's known to have great rapport with the quarterbacks he's coached. He's a very analytics-friendly kind of, modern kind of coach as well, which is said to be new to this building as well for the Giants. Does have limited experience there as far as, the defensive side of the ball. Also never been a head coach, so you got that as an issue as well. Not a guy that I'd be interested in for those reasons, to be very frank with you guys. But I do see where somebody will look at what's going on and say, we got a guy here who we know can lead a team, do well. Again, we've talked about it. Josh Allen looked better the last couple of years without Daboll. And Joe Brady's been the guy that's done that. So we know Joe Brady's better at offense than Brian Daboll is for all intents and purposes. So it's an upgrade. I think we can do better personally. But I do think this is a guy we're going to look at and say, let's at least bring him in for an interview. Let's at least bring him in and talk to him real quick here. And like I said, it may, to be very frank, it'd be a courtesy to him because of the connections that Shane has with the Buffalo Bill organization still. We'll find out there. All right, we got another offensive guy to talk about there. that I think is a guy that a lot of people have talked about him. There's a love-hate relationship with him. Cliff Kingsbury is now down the road in DC. Could his air raid offense click with the New York Giants? Listen, we all know who this guy is by now. Very flashy guy. Been the coordinator for the Commanders the last couple of years now. Head coach for the Cardinals from 19 to 2022. Was the head coach for Texas Tech back in 2013 to 2018. Like, he's got a list, guys, of QBs he's coached that is goddamn impressive. Patrick Mahomes, Johnny Manziel in college, Case Keenum, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams. Like, that's a really, really impressive list of quarterbacks. So you know he can do good with a quarterback. Now, then you throw in what he did with Jaden Daniels year one. I mean, Jaden Daniels had all injury issues this year, so I don't necessarily throw this year into it yet. We don't know fully what he's going to be for his career. But don't tell me Jaden Daniels didn't look good his first year. Cliff Kingsbury knows quarterbacks. He knows offense. The thing is, does he now also know how to run a team? Like, has he learned anything from his time in Arizona, which, again, did not go well? Let's be very frank about it.
That's a very nice way to put it.
We also know what's going on with Kyler Murray right now. But Kyler Murray was also his guy. He wanted Kyler Murray. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a catch-22. Again, I don't necessarily think he's the guy either. But I do see a lot of people that like him because of what he knows on offense.
I like Kingsbury as a coordinator, not so much of a head coach.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I might be like salty because what I saw out in Arizona, like, and how much like people like throw Kingsbury out to us, and like how great he's supposed to be, and just watch Arizona implode.
Yeah.
But then they got rid of
bonus.
Kingsbury, and they were supposed to get better, and Arizona is still imploded. So,
yeah, and they're doing better now without Kyler Murray. You know, can Cliff Kingsbury be blamed for Kyler Murray playing Call of Duty all night? Just
he drafted a player based off the talent that he saw, not for the person that he is.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just don't know these things. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but like I said, he's not my top guy, but I do think there's a lot of people going to look at him this offseason, especially because there's a lot of teams I think they're looking for a quarterback this year. Like, there's been some years that you go, okay, only one or two teams need a quarterback. Like last year, let's be honest, we needed a quarterback. Tennessee needed a quarterback, and the Saints needed a quarterback, and kind of the Browns, they had Watson. They weren't sure what was going on fully yet with that situation yet. So not a lot of teams. This year, you still have the Saints needed one. You know, you still have the Browns need one for sure now. Now you have the Cardinals will need one. You got to think that there's some teams with some older quarterbacks, like the Rams, for example, that might want to get an heir apparent there, so to speak. Like there's going to be more teams that need a quarterback this year.
The Rams. That's maybe.
Well,
depends what happens in
Stafford's not young.
He's not, but let's see what happens in the postseason, the playoffs, if you will.
Yeah,
because Stafford's not young, but he's also leading the league in touchdowns. So
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He's damn good. I just don't, for how much longer till that back gives out. So, but like I said,
37 with a bad back and playing lights out.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's going to happen. Though, is a team that needs a quarterback is the guy who's going to go after him specifically because they're going to say, okay, we'll bring in Cliff Kingsbury. He's going to develop a quarterback. We'll figure out the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not the Giants. We already know that we have a quarterback that's good. We don't know how good yet. I don't want to, like I said, go put too much on the kid already. But we know he's a quality quarterback. It's just a matter of how high that ceiling is going to go with him. So I'm not worried about that. You know, and he's got, you know, Cliff's got some issues with leadership there as well. Like, he didn't really seem to fully lead that team. And that's an issue for me. So not my guy. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. And you know what? I just realized we skipped somebody that I'm gonna have to pull up here as well and add a number 11 that I thought I had in this list here, and apparently we didn't. So guess what, guys? This is now 11 top quarterback guys, 11 top coach guys. I mean, and next one is a wild card I threw in actually, a guy that I really thought was not somebody that you hear a lot of people talking about quite yet. But I think that there's a guy that in my neck of the woods right now, where I'm at in Tampa, that is a guy that's going to be potentially looked at. Josh Grizzard, 35 years old, first year as an offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, here's one of the reasons why I'm saying that. Look at what's going on in Jacksonville right now. They've gotten better, right? Not great yet, but they've gotten better this year. They're taking a step forward. Look what's happened in Carolina. They've taken now a step forward as well. And this is the last two offensive coordinators for the Bucs. So that's why I'm saying I don't think that, because this offense really hasn't skipped too much of a beat. They're a little pissed at him because of last week right now. Let me be very frank with you now in case any Buck fans watch. They are pissed at him for last week, but that happens week to week. But
well, let's be real. Outside of you being a homer, the Bucs defense, the Bucs offense has played tough games. 30 in, yes, they lost last week, but guess what? The Patriots are now 8-2. They're playing some real football. They lost to a legit team, not the Patriots of 2 years ago. So let's take that off the shelf. Like, put the Patriots against the Eagles. Patriots are probably going to win.
And here's the biggest reason why I'm including him in this list is for what Jay just said at the bottom. They like to hire like we do cheap asses, he says. This is a cheap hire. This would be up the Giants' alley. A guy that nobody else is really talking about, a guy that's coming from a place that's really built to head coaches that are succeeding so far in the NFL. You know, because keep in mind, there's still a guy in Tampa Bay right now. People don't realize this. Has a much bigger say with the Bucs than people realize. Bruce Arians. And he is there still as consulting, and he's got some kind of like fake title, but he's basically still in the building, still doing stuff. And he's a hell of a coach, by the way. I'd take him in a heartbeat if you want to come out of retirement. But he's done a lot, and keep on, another offensive coach. He does a lot of tutelage with these kind of guys. He teaches them a lot. He loves that mentor kind of role, and that's what he's kind of become. So, like I said, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think point blank, if you want to go ahead and get a guy who is a first-time head coach and take a risk, this is a guy maybe you take a risk on. But I don't think the Giants should do that. I think they should go ahead and get a legit coach with experience that you trust is going to do it. And he doesn't fit that bill for me.
Yeah, and you brought up the Jaguars about being head coach, being an OC for the Tampa Bay. Who's winning the game for Jaguars? Oh, it's the defense.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. But that, to me, says something about the fact that he's actually coaching this team. They're rallying around him. And the side of the ball he's not an expert on is the one doing well. That's actually, to me, a sign of a good coach. Weird as that sounds.
Not wrong.
So, like I said, I'm not saying he's going to be a hot commodity coach. I just wouldn't shock me at all if people start talking about him. It becomes kind of that dark horse candidate out of nowhere. That all of a sudden people start talking about him and people like him. Because people
6 weeks you're going to hear that.
Yeah, like I said, towards the end of the year, he's going to pop up. He's a newer name there, so got to give it a little time. All right. Let's get to our next one here, guys. And this is one that I think is going to be very, very intriguing to people. Lane Kiffin has built his reputation at Ole Miss, but could his explosive offense and swagger actually fit New York? To be honest, I don't know myself. You know, he's been a head coach before. It's not like he hasn't been a head coach before. You know, and I think that you got a guy in here now if you get him that works with Jackson Dart. He literally coached him in college. And that's where I think the big thing is with the whole Lane Kiffin connection. Now, Lane Kiffin has already said, by the way, New York's too cold. He wouldn't want to coach here. He's already said that. But you know what all of a sudden changes opinions like that? Bread.
That's money. It's not bread.
Yes. Well,
there's not enough carbohydrates in that paper.
Well, listen, if it was actual bread, everybody would want to coach New York because we all know the New York area has the best baked goods you'll ever get in your life.
Yeah.
Again, head coach since 2020 with Ole Miss, former coordinator for Alabama from 14 to 16, USC head coach 10 to 13, is head coach at Tennessee back in 2009, was the Oakland Raiders head coach 2007, 2008. And of course, comes from a family of NFL coaches. His dad, Monty Kiffin. Monty Kiffin was an amazing defensive coordinator. And, I see James in there. James Cannon in the house here. I see you in there. He could probably tell us something about Monty Kiffin. Monty Kiffin was a really, really good defensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Bucks. That's his dad. Monty, remember, actually went with him to go be a defensive coordinator in college when he first got started there as well. So, listen, he's a really, really good defensive coordinator. Monty Kiffin was. Lane Kiffin. You ever had a scenario where somebody's like really good at something, but they're not quite as good as their old man?
Yeah,
that's what I feel like Lane Kiffin is. Like, I think this is a stay in your lane. Like, your lane is college. Not everybody that succeeds in college succeeds in the NFL and vice versa. Looking at you, Bill Belichick. But Lane Kiffin has done pretty well for himself in college. And let's be honest, he's going to have pretty much his pick of whatever school he wants to coach at. I don't think that Lane Kiffin is going to come to the NFL, not get paid as much because the NCAA is going to, whatever team's going to probably give him more money. And I don't think he's going to take that kind of job with that kind of risk where he can get much more money.
I was going to say,
I don't see it.
You're going to have Lacey as a college coach and make probably double the triple amount of money.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Partying up at the sorority houses and
let's go win a couple. Let's be in the running and be in the playoffs nonstop. Let's make triple amount of money and have family security, or let's take another risk in the NFL where you already failed twice as a head coach.
And I'm going to say this. I don't know. People aren't going to like this necessarily. Jackson Dart, just based on how he's playing right now in the NFL, Jackson Dart, point blank, should have been better in college.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart looks like the clear best quarterback out of that draft class. Again, it wasn't a great draft class for quarterbacks. I'm not trying to hype it up like that. But this wasn't the Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis draft class either. Like, it wasn't that bad. But he looks like the clear best quarterback to come out of this draft here. And I think full on, he should look better in college. And I wonder if Lane Kiffin's system was actually holding him back.
You have to think that, because what was the one thing we talked about when we looked over the tape? He doesn't know how to read defense. He takes so much time in the pocket.
Yep. And didn't have
Brian Daboll. Yeah. And on Brian Daboll, they fixed that fast. And we know how Brian Daboll schemes things. It just ass backwards.
Yeah.
So you get this guy a real legit guy that understands, coach that understands the NFL and how the offense should work. And these times, modern times, not like Bill Belichick, who understood it 25 years ago. We have a situation in Dart that could be a really, really good quarterback for years to come. Why bring the guy in, pay him less money to hold him back?
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense for any party.
And real quick, 'cause I see people now talking back and forth what I said about the whole college thing. Jackson Dart you should give credit to point blank to Lane Kiffin for developing him in college. But his offense in Ole Miss is very much one side of the field, one target, move on. That's not a legit NFL style offense, and that's not what he's doing now with the Giants, and he's succeeding. So it's not saying that he didn't teach him well. He obviously taught him well. He wouldn't be able to succeed. It's not like, in the 2 or 3 months Brian Daboll had him, he tore him down and rebuilt him. I'm not trying to say that. But what I'm saying is point blank that scheme did not do him any favors.
No.
And that scheme, point blank, is not known to be one that necessarily transfers to the NFL very well. Ask Matt Corral. It's the truth. It is what it is. Like I said,
Listen,
Lane Kiffin's not my guy.
And Dart's the development of Dart, like, just to get outside the park and just advance field. So, like, advance the field. He did it Sunday with a crazy catch down the field for like 15 yards, I believe it was. Ran to the side, like 10 yards out of the pocket, and just threw the ball on a sidestep. That wasn't a college play. That's him trying to beat Mahomes. They look damn good.
He's got that Mahomes abilities, that's for sure. Like I said, I give Lane Kiffin credit. He developed him in college. He definitely did. I just don't think his offensive scheme is the best for him. I think he kind of held him back a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can disagree. People can disagree all they want with that. That's fine. That's the fun of sports. We're not that show that's going to flip out if you disagree.
Yeah.
But that's just what I see.
I mean, just like I said before, things that work in college doesn't work in the NFL. Things that work in the NFL doesn't work in college. And that's one of the schemes that may work in college, but it's not going to work in the NFL.
Yeah. Real quick as well, Deb, I see your comment. AC's on the end of the show. Definitely on there. So I don't know where that's coming from. But he's definitely on that, just to give you a heads up. I would definitely not do that. But all right, we got one more guy from our top 10. And then the one guy I forgot that I just pulled up real quick because I can't believe I forgot him. And you guys even mentioned him in there. And I even made a picture with him and everything. And I could have swore I had him on the list. I could have swore, but apparently I didn't. So we're going to have to add him in kind of after the fact here, which is just, it is what it is.
Tisk.
Tisk indeed. So, but yeah, so we're going to, the crazy thing is he was even on the image for the whatchamacallit, for the thumbnail and everything too, but it is what it is. We're adding him back on. So next guy though is a guy that is, I want to say, one of the most controversial yet potentially most popular candidates for this job. John Gruden's scandal was atop the NFL headlines back in 2021. But could a team like the Giants ever consider him again? And yeah, like I said, listen, John Gruden's is the topic that I try to walk around a little bit there a bit freely because I don't want to say the wrong thing, get myself in trouble. But let's talk about John Gruden as a coach for a second, and then we'll get into the whole controversy that comes around with John Gruden. Obviously, John Gruden was the Raiders coach from 98 to 2001, turned that whole franchise around. Was probably the only guy to succeed with the older version of Al Davis. Like, Al Davis in the 70s was like a force in the AFL, NFL era. Al Davis in the 90s. He was like Al Davis in the 90s was point blank the guy that you like was like almost like Jerry Jones now. You're like, dude, you gotta walk away. You know what I mean? Like that's where he was. But Gruden point blank turned that whole franchise around. Goes then to the Buccaneers, takes over for Tony Dungy there. Wins the Super Bowl there. And the crazy thing is, you talk to people that he coached, and they love him. And I'm gonna work again. I don't think it's my place to go over some of the stuff he said because of where I'm at, but there are people that are part of groups that he supposedly talked bad about in the emails that love him still too as well. Is that the best way to word it for me? Probably. I'm trying to keep myself out of trouble here. Like,
Probably.
Yeah.
Listen,
well, hold on, but we're going to talk about the coaching part. I'm just saying, like, people loved him that as far as that were coaches. We'll get to the lawsuit and all that stuff in a minute here. You know, he's got no really connection to the Giants. The Giants did beat him in 2007 in the wild card round when he was the head coach for the Bucks. Had to throw that in there because, you know, that was a Super Bowl win for us. He goes back into TV, and by the way, he's hilarious on TV. He's absolutely hilarious, and Frank Caliendo, the comedian, I love who does his reputation. His rendition of him there and does that his voice. It's hilarious. But you know, you go back to coaching. You coach for a couple of years in the Raiders again now in Vegas, and point blank, like it gave him like a ridiculous amount of money to get him to come back. Insane amount of money to come back.
wow. What was that? 10 years, 10 million a year?
Yeah, like for a coach, that's unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. And, you know, you look at what that contract was, the Raiders weren't exactly happy with what they got. You know, it wasn't like he rebuilt that team all over again. And so to give you the quick of it here, the Raiders weren't even part of this. This is a Commanders thing. The Commanders were point blank being investigated because their owner, who we all know is a piece of crap, let's be honest. Not even beat around the bush here. You can say what you want for your end, Rob. I don't like to speak for you, but he was a piece of crap, I'll say.
Piece of poop.
So there was a whole thing out because of all the issues he had, issues with cheerleaders and all kinds of stuff at that point there. NFL investigated. They started pulling literally every single email from the Washington Commanders, Redskins, Washington football team, whatever the hell the names they were at that times. A bunch of emails came up between John Gruden and Bruce Allen, who was the GM. In those emails, John Gruden said some really bad things. He said things that were considered racist, homophobic, all those kind of things there. You know, I got to say this the way, and I might get myself in some trouble for saying it, but I don't care. I'm just going to be very frank, and I try to be always honest with you guys here. I think if every single private conversation got out there, we'd all be in trouble. Now, would I say the things he said? No. But I'm just saying, I think if everything came out that we ever said in private, we didn't think the public would ever see, we'd all be in trouble.
That's fair. That's fair. But there's a difference between like joking around and how things were said.
Oh, and that's why I'm saying it definitely. I'm not saying it didn't cross the line. I'm just saying I feel like there's a lot of people in glass houses that throw stones in these scenarios too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's just if it would have came out like, so say like, if his emails were to Tim Dillon, a comedian that is known for raunchy humor, and that's how they spoke, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But this is to a GM talk about players and staff around the league, and there was no comedic value to it. Like he just straight up was raunchy in his explanations of like how he was talking about different players, different personnel, and that's a hard it's a hard line to get back from.
Yeah,
and I hear what you're saying, but
you know, part of what it is, I don't know the relationship between Bruce Allen and John Gruden to really judge the whole thing either. Like, let's be honest, we all have friends that we talk about and talk to and say stuff we shouldn't say. That's the one person in our life we would say this to because we're good. You know what I mean? Like they know we're just joking around. They don't take it too serious. But again, he took it too far. And I'll say this point blank. I will always have said this. Never put anything in writing you don't want seen publicly. Even if it's an email, text message, whatever, because you never know when it's going to come out there. Never.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I there's a lot of things he said point blank that were horrendous, and things that I would not say. When I say I said things that would get me in trouble, I'm not saying the stuff he said. Let me be very clear on that.
He said way worse.
You know, my whole thing is I think you'd have to have the conversation with him. You know, has he learned from this? Has he grown from this? You know, and it's funny because I think the older generations at that point, you know, and like cool, like me and you, Robin, up. Like there was a lot of things. Let's be very frank that we said as kids that you couldn't say nowadays.
Yeah. Like just look at movies that 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
You're not getting away with saying now or talking about now.
So my whole thing is, has he grown from this? Has he learned from this? Because like he said some things, for example, that are very clearly considered racist, and I understand why they're considered racist 100%. But he's got a lot of players that he played for him that were black that don't seem to have a problem with him either. So and they came to his defense even when it happened. So it's like, you know, I don't know. And this is why I say I got to speak very carefully on this part, really, because it's like, for me as a white guy, it's not my place to have an opinion on this stuff, if that makes sense. Like, it's not my role. That's a conversation with him and the groups that are upset about it, if that makes sense, you know?
To a point. If we're talking about hiring as a head coach, I don't know how offensive things were. I know from my side how offensive they could come across the sound. But if we're talking about hiring this guy, it's a conversation we need to have. Like,
yeah, especially in New York.
Yeah.
That's you want to talk about a situation that's bad to have that in. You know, it's one thing for him to go to like Texas and have that.
Yeah, way different.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's something that, unfortunately, it's just we got to have the conversation about it, and you got to have it in a private setting at that point. Find out what he's learned from. Talk to people that know him. Find out, is there actually hate in his heart, or is this just a guy that made jokes that, quite frankly, he shouldn't have made and aren't funny?
Yeah, in bad taste.
Yeah, point blank. So, like I said, I just don't know where to put him. I don't know the guy personally, but beyond
is he
that,
Mel Brooks or is he American History X?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Mel Brooks did plenty of things to get him in trouble too. You know,
well, there's a difference of Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs too.
Well, wasn't Blazing Saddles written by Richard Pryor, or was he involved in the writing?
I think he was. Yeah,
I thought so. So because obviously there's that word in there many times, but
yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of the reason why people are talking about John Gruden is specifically because of also the Jackson Dart thing. He loves Jackson Dart. Like, we all saw the video when he went to Gruden's camp, because now Gruden's working for Barstool Sports and does that with them now. And I mean, I love those segments. They're awesome because I just love the passion that John Gruden has for the game. Like, you ever see that thing where he just opens up the boxes of crap teams send him to? Like, the excitement this man has. He's like a kid on a Christmas morning, and he's 61, by the way. Not even young anymore. Or 62, sorry. Yeah. But he's got that kind of like excitement to him, and football just excites him. And that's why I think people like the guy so much. But again, that's a big issue to overcome. And I also think he's been out of the league for so long that his time is probably past. I mean, think about it. It's been 4 years since that situation.
I go back and forth with that. Like you just said yourself, the passion and the love for the game.
Yeah.
It's there.
And
you see it. It's there. Dark. It's there. He sees it. Just because he's not a coach in the league right now, is he that far removed of being a coach in this league? Like, maybe not. Maybe he just was pushed away. He still stews on a pot of ideas.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. I think that you have to, as an organization, be okay with, I don't say okay with the comments, but okay with what's happened since the comments. Has he learned from it? Has he done the proper apology tour and stuff like that and grown from it? Because like I said, again, I think if most people, if we go back there's definitely skeletons in everybody's closets to a certain degree.
Yeah, you definitely have to look at the growth.
He's still got a lawsuit going on with the NFL. Like, they still, because they're alleging an internal leak to force his ouster. Now, I haven't heard much details what he's alleging he's out to, but it's weird because you got to think if the NFL was doing things to force his ouster, that means the Raiders wanted him gone. Because it wasn't like the NFL was like, we don't like John Gruden. Like, they don't care who's the head coach there. Let's be honest. You know, like that's just what it is. But he had a 3-0 record when he got let go in 21. He had a 7-9 record with the Raiders the year before that. So technically, he was over 500 in his, one game and a couple games otherwise. So, I don't know what I said. I think the personality is an issue. I think that's safe to say, even taking out the issues of what he said and everything in the emails, because again, it's horrendous enough on its own. But it's like, I think the personality is an issue.
Yeah, this is very brash.
Yeah, and that's not going to work with Mara. That's not going to work with Mara or the other Maras and the 10,000 Maras that work for the Giants. So I think that's pretty much a no-go. So, all right. Let's talk about one last guy here, guys. And this is the guy I left off our list, so we actually have number 11 now. I can't believe I forgot this guy. And you guys have talked about it in the comments. And again, I even, listen, to prove it, I even made the picture here. There's the picture. There it is. I just forgot to make the thumbnail. Brian Flores, who's one of the younger guys here, 44 years old. Could Brian Flores get another shot in New York, this time leading the team he once game planned against? Because he's embarrassed us last year, point blank, and loved it probably with everything going with the lawsuit. So defensive coordinator with the Vikings since 2023, former head coach for the Dolphins, 19 to 21, senior assistant, defensive assistant, linebackers coach for the Steelers, longtime assistant with the Patriots under Bill Belichick. So again, you got a Belichick, situation going on there. Giants do like that. Was 24 and 25 as the Dolphins head coach. The biggest issue with him is the issue with Tua as far as his coaching. We'll get to the lawsuit in a minute because I see you guys in the comments. But Tua was an issue because Tua was starting, then Fitzpatrick was starting, then Tua was starting, then Fitzpatrick was starting. We're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that's not good for a quarterback. That's the only knock on him I had. I thought otherwise he did a damn good job for the Dolphins. They were a 500 team every year with them. They had crap talent. They weren't giving him the tools needed to succeed. And I really thought he did a damn good job there. So I like him as a coach overall. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a very blunt to the point guy, which I think works well with a lot of players. You know where you stand with them. But there's the lawsuit. And that's the big thing. So the first thing is that lawsuit's got to go away for them to even consider probably interviewing him, to be very frank. Like, you don't usually interview a guy for a job who's suing you for not giving him the job last time. So for those who may have forgotten, there was a lawsuit back in 2022. We did the hiring for Brian Daboll, ironically enough, alleging discriminatory hiring practices and citing a mistaken congratulatory text from Bill Belichick. Now, that was because Bill Belichick literally texted the wrong Brian, which if that's not enough to tell you that Bill Belichick is too old to come back to the Giants, I don't know what is. Like, they're talking 4 years ago, he was texting the wrong Brian. But that's what started the whole thing off. Listen, I don't know the ins and outs of what proof he doesn't have. I don't think it makes sense that Brian Flores would be suing them merely off of a text congratulating the wrong Brian. There's something else he has. I don't know what. That's all held up in the court systems right now. But listen, if the Giants are interested in him and he's willing to kind of get past this lawsuit, and that, let's be honest, probably a settlement in a court to do that, then it's not necessarily a bad guy to go for at that point there. He is obviously a defensive guy. He'd have to have an offensive guy with him. But listen, if there's one guy you trust to be an excellent offensive guy, it's Kevin O'Connell, the head coach for the Vikings. So, again, same as we talked about Lou Anarumo. If you go ahead and get somebody from there, you get somebody that you trust that's in there. Josh McCown is actually the head quarterback coach right now for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Maybe you bring him in. Everybody, there's a lot of people in the NFL that loved him. They wanted to give him a head coaching job in Houston before he was even an assistant. So maybe that's what it is. You bring in Brian Flores, you figure out first the lawsuit issue, you bring him in, you get Josh McCown to come in as your new OC at that point there. You can do a whole lot worse. A whole lot worse, that's for sure.
Like hiring Brian Daboll.
Yes, that was a mistake looking back on it. Not that, you and I didn't say it at the time that we were a little concerned, but, it is what it is. So that's number 11 for us is the bonus round here. So
The bonus round is.
All right, so we're going to do this real quick here. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to try to go through as many comments as we can, but we have like literally a whole bunch of them here. So I don't know how many we're going to be able to get to. The very first one we got to get to, of course, though, is Anthony. 49 super chat, his second super chat of the day for the second one. Look at Rob is so excited he had to get off the screen. That's what happened. Rob got so excited off the screen. Oh, there he is. He's back. Rob is back. Back again.
I was right here, man, the whole time.
You left. We had no camera for you. I thought you left again.
I was right here.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Let's get to the comments here. And I apologize. We're going to kind of go through them a little bit of rapid style here, guys, because I want to make sure we try to get to everybody. Same as we did with the Brian Daboll firing episode. I try to get through everybody. And even with the episode we did yesterday, the post game too, as well, same thing. We had said so many comments. I appreciate you guys. Kevin says McCarthy or Gruden. McCarthy good on Gruden. NYG, NYY. Hello. Gruden 100%. But they won't pick Gruden because he is the one who could turn it around. So he's not the political candidate for the job. Bullshit. If they don't get Gruden, then ask Coughlin to come back. That's it. Well, that's a weird two choices to have there, Ben.
Yeah.
You might have to go ahead and figure out somebody else besides those two. Let's see here. Kevin says no thanks for McCarthy and Gruden. No thanks for McCarthy and Gruden brings too much baggage. Like I said, I can get where people wouldn't like McCarthy. He's a safe pick. Not everybody likes safe picks. Yeah. I'm just at the point where I'm sick of being an embarrassment. I want the safe pick.
Sadly, I always in that boat with you.
Yeah, like I said, that's where we're at now. At 81, M. Roman, Gruden will be the top of everybody's list. I don't think that. I really don't. We'll see though. Jay says Kafka season. Well, Kafka 7 games. Anthony says we shall see Jay. Jay says if Tomlin gets fired, that'd be amazing. Go get him. Listen, I would go ahead and get the private jet, get him right over right now, and sign the deal immediately. Done. Like, you want to give me Mike Tomlin? Done. And I'm not even a fan of Mike Tomlin. Like, as a person, as a coach, I think he's one of the best coaches out there. I lost all respect for him with the whole tripping incident. Was that 10 years ago? We're trying to trip the guy who was returning a kickoff.
Yeah.
That was classless. I'm sorry. That was absolutely classless.
Terrible.
Jay says John Harbaugh is getting fired now. Yeah, probably not. Or else, again, another guy, get the jet. Let's bring it on. Listen, if John Harbaugh gets fired, I would send the jet. I would pay the fine for not following the Rooney rules and move on. Point blank. It's funny. Somebody said I should have a point blank t-shirt. But yes, point blank. Jay says Kiffin would cost too much and be risky. Yeah, I said I don't think he's the guy. He says, who do you want? AC. AC says Tomlin is too old school. I don't like Gruden or Belichick. Jay says no way in hell they hire Gruden. I don't disagree there. He says Bill Belichick is the effing joke at this point. Yep. Tomlin would bring discipline. His teams never do stupid shit either. Yeah, right. I mean, you want to bring an adult in the room. That's an adults to gets. I would even trade for him if the Steelers want to talk. That's how much I have respect for Tomlin as a coach.
Yeah.
Harbaugh too, by the way. Jay says Chris Shula possible too. Yeah, he's one of the coordinator kind of guys I can see somebody looking at potentially. Jay says I think Kafka has a better shot than most think. They like him and he's cheap. I'll say this: Giants fans think less of Mike Kafka than anybody else in the NFL circles. Point blank there.
That's fair. But it's going to be interesting because Drew, we talked about this before. Now that he's the interim head coach, if you will,
The intern head
Yeah,
coach. He's
the
not getting
intern.
paid until he graduates college.
yeah.
Wasn't he in a
Let's-
movie with
let's-
Anne Hathaway?
Let's maybe let's look at the play calling because is it going to look like 2022 where some crazy designs where some less talented offensive players will say to be nice, make some big plays?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm curious. I want to see how much of it was Daboll meddling because I still think Daboll is meddling a hell of a lot on that offense. I really do. So Anthony says, I'm honestly not sure, Jay. I like Flores, but the lawsuit makes that weird. I don't think Belichick has it anymore. I also don't want somebody old school. Yep. Jay says, you're not wrong, AC. Jay says, old school or flat out effing old. LOL. He says, I love Flores. I wanted him last cycle. Yeah, I would take Flores. I honestly would. I like him. He says, as long as we get a defensive coach that's smart enough to get an offensive coach to groom Darth the rest of the way.
Yes.
And that's why I said Flores and go get Josh McCown, assuming they have a good relationship. I don't know they're how they are. If they're buddy and going for beers after the game or what the deal is. But like we got Shane, we knew Daboll was coming with them. I don't know if it's that kind of friendship or not with Flores and McCown, but that'd be an interesting combo, that's for damn sure. Anthony says both LOL. Only I would take someone old school if it was Coughlin came back, and that's because he wants dogs and guys from a tough edge to them. Yeah, listen, Coughlin, the only problem is the age thing. I'd bring him back as a VP in charge of football operations.
Yeah.
I would bring him back in a heartbeat for that. Deb says Gruden is a slime ball. Yeah, like I said, I don't know the guy personally, and that's why I hate to kind of fully say things without ever knowing the guy. Like, he's not a friend of the show. I don't know, but I know people that do know him and say only nice things about him. But it's really hard for me to get past those emails. It really is. Like I said, we all say things behind closed doors. If we're being very honest about it, that would get us in trouble. But he took it way too far. Way too far. But we also, I mean, how many of us don't have a friend that says stuff they shouldn't say? Maybe he's that friend.
Could be.
Jay says he is old though. Anthony says I agree with the defensive coach, but I also want the best possible offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Well, yes, we want the best of everything. Who doesn't? Jason Gruden is okay. He said some messed up stuff. I hate people getting judged for something they did 20 years ago. By today's standards, the world was a different place. Well, it wasn't 20 years ago. Those emails were like 6. Yeah. So at least I don't think they were 20 years ago. Somebody, if I'm wrong,
well, some of them did come up from like the fireman came in, what, 1920 or 22?
1920. Gruden was
no, it's like I didn't mean 1920. I mean like 2019, 2020.
Yeah, I mean that's still
be with the times, bro.
You're still like, and again, I hate to say there's like a pass for saying things that was social norm back then, but it was just, it's not a pass, but it's kind of like, okay, well, he said in the time this wasn't as bad to say as it is now.
No, but I'm saying this controversies came out like then, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like the world is not that much different, no?
It's not, but that's when the controversy came out. But they pulled up emails from like 2013, 2009. they pulled, so we want to talk about how the world is different. Like
it's not that much different from them. Yeah.
But like look at a movie from like
okay.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie. Waited.
If anything, I would say the pendulum swung the other direction now, and people get away with saying horrible things they shouldn't say.
I would do it the other way. It started swinging back the other way. Look at the movies like that were funny, super bad. Like Waiting.
Comedy is a whole different thing. Gruden was not writing a stand-up bit.
I'm just saying things you could say that were in comedy.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Which is as stable what you get away with saying. But what he was trying to say, it definitely wasn't comedy. But I'm just saying you could get away saying.
But you couldn't get away with 5-6 years ago saying what he said.
But I'm saying what he was caught saying 5-6 years ago was
If
from
he had said it back in
15,
the
20.
80s, yeah, okay. Like,
No.
it's a different time.
Yeah.
It's still wrong, but it's a different time. There's a little bit
Yeah.
different there's
It was 15, 20 years ago is what he was
But-
caught saying, which is still.
You're still talking the 2000s and 20s,
Yeah.
2000s at that point. It's still we're still adults at that point and do better than saying that stuff. And this is Drew. I heard that the door, in fact, did hit him on the way out. Jason, okay, so let's get real. Grassfield, the best OCDC and head coach with Mara's budget. Highly unlikely at the end of the day. Yep, nope. Jason, then you start spending some of that Coke dough. Yeah. Let's see here. Anthony says, how many super chats to get Rob off this rant? Let's see. Let's find out. Anthony says, I think Merrill will bring for the best at this point between his sickness and the embarrassment. Listen, I think the embarrassment more than anything else. I don't think the sickness, but I think the embarrassment definitely. He's done. Let's see. Jay says, I can't believe he's keeping Joe Schoen. Ridiculous. I knew that was going to be a problem with the scenario. It's not the right move, but I get it to a certain degree. I mean, if you really think,
in a year.
If you really think about it, at the end of the day, if you go to the roster, what excites you about this roster? Quarterback, the 2 running backs, neighbors, the pass rush. These are things that were all Joe Schoen. To be honest, they all came into the Joe Schoen. And you could even throw in, if you want to say, oh, well, the pass rush, part of that was, Dexter Lawrence, who was a Gettleman guy. Yeah, but he extended him.
Yeah.
You can't give him the blame for extending Daniel Jones and not give him the credit for extending Dexter Lawrence. So
as soon as you extend the guy, that's your guy.
Yeah. So therefore, like I said, I'm not trying to sit here and say that Shane's a good GM for the record. I've blasted him for plenty of things. I have issues with a lot of the drafting he's done. I have issues with him staying stagnant at trade deadlines and not moving guys to get picks when you're going to get rid of them into the year anyway. Like, just some things he does makes absolutely no sense. Plus, everybody kind of, it's the well-known secret that he's kind of a jerk in person. What I hear, everybody that's ever talked to him or worked with him. So, it is what it is. Anthony says, I can't believe it. He had 2 really good drafts. He did. I mean, he did. Can't complain about the last 2 drafts, that's for sure. So,
yeah.
Jay said, I thought the 24 was really good last year too. I'm going to tread carefully on that. Yeah, because 24 has definitely not played as good this year. But again, the coaching issues. Anthony says, not true. Carl Banks won Super Bowls, and I think he's a piece of shit. I'm not saying you, Anthony. I'm just saying there's certain Giants fans who hold ex-Giants in a very high regard because of what they did when they were Giants. So, Jesus Spags, friend of the show. No, Spags is not a friend of the show. I don't know Spagnola. Now, if Spags wants to come on the show and be a friend of the show, we're happy to make friends with Spags. But I'm not going to pretend to know people I don't actually know. Jason's all Banks, Deontay, and Carl can jam for F's sake. Anthony says, what would it take to get Spags our DC? How do we get him out of KC? Not going to happen. Jason Spags is old. I think he's going to ride it out. Yep. Let's see. Jay says, Spags beloved here, but it's a bad hire. Yes. Let's see. You know what? Rob, go for it. Go for the comments. I'm like hogging all the comments. There's a lot of comments. Go for them.
There's a lot of comments. I'm sitting at the end, and you want me to just go for it?
No. Listen. I got one up for you already. Go for it. I'll put them up for you.
Oh, then I gotta go back there. I can't read up that bit.
It's already there. It's on the screen.
I know, man. You're a badass. I don't think Kafka. It wouldn't surprise me if they know him. He knows start. They could get him cheap, which is 100% true. Like, Kafka comes cheap. He knows how to play him. I think that comes at the end of the day. How he plays against Green Bay in the rest of the year. You see how that offense actually goes out and plays.
I think he actually gets a pass in Green Bay because of the fact that Dart probably won't be playing. It's his first head coaching game entirely. Didn't have the training camp to get things going. I think he give him a pass for the first game. After that is when he started playing them. Unless he does great, then you go, okay, well, yeah, there we go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He goes out. if this offense looks completely different as looked for the first 10 weeks of football, then you go, oh my God, look, I guess Brian Daboll was having all the play calling. Or if it looks exactly the same, went, oh, maybe Daboll actually did not micromanage the cap as much as we thought. That's it. I want them, but they'll pull up the same shit like that. Some shit like that. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck no. Keep that old ass. Shady Acres. Hell yeah. Yeah. Belichick.
You got to read who the comments from too.
Sorry. Sorry,
Deb.
Deb. All right, AC, fuck no. Keep that old ass Shady Acres. Deb, Belichick, his squad without Brady. I wouldn't say that, but you're also.
He's made some questionable calls, but I think even in Cleveland, he was this close to getting Cleveland going when he was a Cleveland head coach many moons ago.
Yeah, there's Belichick definitely helped that because look how well Matt Castle played.
Yeah,
for the Patriots when Belichick. When Tom Brady tore his ACL.
I'll give credit to Josh McDaniels on that. I think Josh McDaniels really is an excellent OC. He's a crappy person and a crappy head coach, but he's an excellent OC. That's who's, by the way, fixing everything going on at the offense right now for Mike Vrabel in New England again. So, yeah, like I said, he's definitely that guy.
Hey, Belichick, you completely embarrass yourself in college, ruin a program in 2 weeks, do stupid tabloid shit, push an 80. You want our head C job? Hey, that's a great pitch. You might say yes.
Great job, Jay.
Yeah. Sounds like merit in the combo, Jay. Oh, wait. What do you say? Oh, that girl is hot. Good for him.
Yeah, no, Jay's talking about Belichick's girlfriend. Who? Only thing I would say, she's got a weirdly oversized forehead, but otherwise, okay, yeah, she's not bad.
She's like a 7 head. Yeah. Good. Take those 8s. Talk about the team. Put in time during a dessert time at Shady Acres.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about Belichick. That's from AC. Yeah. Deb. So she's the reason he sucks as a head coach or as a coach. No, it's just a distraction.
Exactly.
It's just he's in the middle going downhill and she's right there for the ride. Jay comes in, divide by 2, add 7. That's like 43. Should be his dating range. Bro, Matt.
Oh,
yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
So Jay says he sucks because he has no people skills. College football is all about relationships. Definitely. Anthony Deb, he sucks as a coach because he doesn't have the GOAT behind center anymore. Jay says, is Drew Bill Belichick or Tom Brady of goofball? Deb says Patriots started going downhill after Brady left. Jay says Belichick did some interesting stuff, but his time has passed. Yes. Like I said, that's 100% what it is. And like I said, I'm not knocking them on the young girl either. Like I said, I think they're both consenting adults. They know what's going on, but that's a distraction and a cluster that most teams want nothing to do with whatsoever. And as long as she's in the picture, he will never get a shot in the NFL again, I think. See her on the interview? Like she shushed the interviewer for 60 minutes, whatever, and he was promoting his book.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally she stopped the interviewer, so no, we're not talking about that. Then they ended the interview.
Nuts.
Insane. Jay says, who do you want, Deb? Anthony says, I'm giving Drew the Bill title all because that nice vest Roberto was rocking tonight. That's a Mike Vrabel look he's doing, actually. That's a Mike Vrabel look.
Winning.
Jay says, so Boberto is Tom Brady the GOAT somewhere else other than Golden Corral. Deb says, not sure at all. I want somebody with head coach experience. Not many out there. McCarthy has been mentioned. Yes, he has. Jay says, need that splash higher. That's for sure. I don't think McCarthy fits that, but he's a good coach. Yep. Greg Turdholler says, number 1, Saban. I think Saban's too old. He's not come back to the NFL. Number 2, Kiffin. Again, I don't think he leaves college either. Number 3, Spags. I don't think he wants to be a coach. Number 4, Smart. Smart's an interesting guy. Like he's a guy that point blank could be a guy that goes from college to the NFL and succeeds. I just don't know if that's who I want. I don't think that I want to go with a first-time guy that's coming from college. I want a guy who's established in the NFL, preferably a guy that's been a proven winner already in the NFL.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of those. They don't grow on trees, that's for sure. And then he says number 5, Minter. Minter we talked about too as well. Again, good defensive assistant there. Deb says McCarthy could create splash if he started winning. Yes, winning cures all, guys.
Always.
What do you want? Do you want to win the introductory press conference? Do you want to win football games? Joe Judge won his press conference. We were all ready as fans to run through a wall for this guy.
Yeah, until like halfway through the first season.
Yeah, until you realize we're running through a wall trying to get out of the stadium to watch his crappy football. Stop watching a crappy football team play. Like that's
so we can stop drafting special teamers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Jace's fans wouldn't like it, but it's a solid hire. Anthony says as N is enjoying his time with Pat McAfee. As N, I don't know what Belichick. I assume you're talking about there. He's the one who goes on McAfee show. Yeah. Jay says, if they find some El Cheapo OC kid, I might be out on the Giants. You're a Colts fan now anyway. Stop it.
Yeah.
Blue Rep says, Joe Judge was near dart at Ole Miss and by all accounts successful, but I get the point. He says, GM candidates, Greg says, GM candidates want Shane is inevitably fired or John Ferrari from the Eagles and Agnew from the Lions. He's not getting fired. I'm telling you right now, guys, he's not getting fired at all. I like it. I wish he would get fired, but I don't think he's getting fired at all. Let's see here. We got Jay says, I always thought Joe Judge would do well in college, especially recruiting. Yeah, I can see that. Again, he's a great motivator. Greg says, I want a defensive-minded coach, tired of these fake-ass offensive gurus. I just want someone legit. I don't care what side of the ball. Legit. That's all I want. Jay says, it's sort of a failure to win only one Super Bowl with prime Aaron Rodgers, to be honest. Yeah. Greg says, Giants are a franchise built on defense, not quarterbacks and wide receivers. But that's because only we haven't been successful in how long? Like that's just is what it is. Jay says, exactly Turd Holler. But again, modern football, it's quarterback. It's a quarterback and a line. If you think about it, even go back to the Eli days. Eli, offensive line was solid, defensive line was solid. You win by controlling the line of scrimmage and having a good quarterback. Moon says he's done well with our Division II quarterback transfer to Ole Miss this year. You talk about Lane Kiffin there. Jay says Brian Flores would be sick. Yes, he would. Greg says that's the reason we don't have any Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have played for us exclusively through their careers. Wyatt Till did most of his damage in San Francisco and Tarkenton with Minnesota, so they don't count. Yep, nope. You're not wrong at all. We really haven't had those great quarterbacks. Jay says Aaron Rodgers is way better than Favre. They're both crappy people. I don't know. I mean, honestly, either one of them, if you want to win a football game with, neither one of them, you can go wrong with either one. That's for damn sure. Greg says Phil Simms, 2 Super Bowls, not a Hall of Famer. Eli's 2 Super Bowls, not a Hall of Famer yet. Yet is the key part. He should be a Hall of Famer. Jay says McCarthy hiring is about as sexy as Drew in a Speedo, though. NGMI, yeah. But it is what it is. Like McCarthy will get you to where you got to get to. Same as apparently me in a Speedo. That's a weird analogy. Anthony says Flores would be amazing, Jay. Yes. Deb says we will probably all hate who Shane picks. That's so you're not wrong there. To be honest, we just hate Shane. Greg says Chuck Connolly, 2 NFL championships, not a Hall of Famer. Yes. He said we don't do a top 5 quarterbacks at the Giants. We do top 5 linebackers. Again, that's decades ago that we're talking. Football has changed. Back then, that wasn't great quarterbacks in general like that. How many Johnny Unitas were there back then? The reason he was so popular because him and Wyatt Tittle and all, that's what there was. There wasn't these guys like it is now. There was no Breezes and Brady's and Mannings and all that stuff. the game changed. So we can't go based on that. Jace is true, though. Says we don't have any Hall of Fame quarterbacks and wide receivers, but we do have Hall of Fame linebackers and pass rushers. Jay says, I can't believe Joe Schoen gets the Teflon Don treatment. He whiffed on all free agency this year and has so many busts. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of what you like about this team, though, is all because of him, too. So we talked about it before. If you take out those double-digit wins, we're above 500. So double-digit losses, I'm sorry. You know, the 4 games we should have won, we were up by 10 points. So Greg says Fangio was 19-30 as a head coach for the Broncos. There's that. Anthony says, I imagine sending 6 at quarterbacks 70% of the time with Burns, Carter, Dexter, and Tibbs. That's what Flores would give us. Utter destruction of other offensive lines. Damn straight. That's the biggest issue I got with Bowen. Not doing that. Flores definitely would do that. Jay says, and he's a dickhead, allegedly, talking about Fangio, I believe. Greg says we need a culture changer. Yes, we do. Listen, we got to be the culture change ourselves, though, too, as a team, not just the coach. Like, you got to change everything up at this point there. You know, I've said even go down to the uniforms, change the uniforms, even do something. Say this is not the same team. Jay says the core pieces are there, good coaching and a nice draft, and will challenge for the East, in my humble opinion. So right there, core pieces are there, but you hate Joe Schoen. We got to not have our cake and eat it too, and realize that we may not like Joe Schoen, but there's also worse guys out there. We can do better. We can do worse. You know.
Yeah.
I don't like him either. I'd get rid of him too. But if we get rid of Daboll, we get rid of Bowen, I'll be happy. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Meatloaf said it.
He said first.
Greg said we've got a quarterback, wide receiver 1, and running backs. We got 3 solid pieces to build the offense around. Time to build his defense into the monster it's supposed to always be. Damn straight. Anthony says, I think if we didn't have Bowen and Daboll this year, we would have challenged the East, dude. That Eagles game would have been a fight for first place. You're not wrong there. Again, we'd be 6-4 right now, basically. Let's see the NFC East standings to make sure I'm giving you guys accurate information here.
We'd be tied. So
if you take the 4 games out, we'd be 6-4, and the Eagles are sitting there 6-2 right now. But again, they're playing as we speak. So we'd be tied. We'd be down by half a game, assuming they lose today. What's the score right now, Rob? You got it?
10-0 Eagles.
So that's probably not going to happen the way things go. So you'd be down by a game and a half. I mean, it's still close. 10-7 is what I'm showing Eagles. So
I watched it on a delay. So
okay, well,
unless it just happened.
The Packers have the ball and they're only got 10-7. So I'm not sure what. Let's see here. Then you got Greg says Fangio's not a bad pick, actually, although he did suck in Denver. Yep. He said Fangio would definitely need a real offensive guru as his OC. Yes, 100% there. Iron Lion, what's up? What's up, Drew? What's up, man? He says, G-Fam, how we doing? Greg says, and snatch up the Eagles' assistant GM while we're at it. Guys, the GM's not going anywhere. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be the mean guy. I'm just telling you guys. That's just, it is what it is. He's not going anywhere. It's not going to happen. Jay says, yeah, that's very possible, AC. We can play with the big boys. It's obvious. Iron Lion says, glad Daboll is gone. Now we can get rid of Kafka, Bowen, and Shane. Again, Shane's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. I would get like a ticker. Shane's not going anywhere.
Not yet.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think he's going to go anywhere. I really don't think so. Let's see here. We're going to get it going. Here we go.
Yeah.
And there we go. There's the banner. Joe Schoen's not going anywhere, guys. Greg says, I love Minter. Jace says 1,000%. Iron Lion. Greg says no experiences or Achilles heel, talking about Minter. Anthony says Shane is not leaving Lion. I'm sure the rest will be gone at the end of the season. I doubt anyone wants to step up as interim defensive coordinator. Honestly, I would think Marco Emmanuel will take it in a heartbeat because he's done the job before. He did it with Atlanta, and I think he's the guy that point blank could come in here and do better than what Shane Bowen has and try to get himself a shot there to go back into the NFL there, you know?
I think so too. And you have on paper going into this year possibly top 10 pass rush, top 5.
Yeah.
And they've not played like the bottom 10.
Yeah, like I said, to me, it's a good spot to go. If I was a guy like Marquez Emmanuel and I wanted to be a DC again, I would take that spot in a heartbeat because you have all the weapons to succeed. This is not like
look what I did with the team halfway through the season, where the coaches couldn't get it done. Look what I did.
Yeah. Like I said, I just, to me, I think it makes too much sense, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll happen. But listen, guys, that's going to call it a night for us here. I'm sorry we're not going to get to all the comments here today. Ton of comments. We do appreciate you guys for that, seriously. Guys have been just lighting up the comment board like crazy the last couple of shows, and it's much appreciated. But we'll be back again for you guys Wednesday. Now, if anything happens tomorrow, I don't think anything's going to happen, but we're saying if Shane Bowen gets fired or something tomorrow, which again, I'm not trying to say it's going to happen. I don't think it is. We will probably pop on to let you guys know what's going on there from there, kind of like I did today when Daboll got fired. I already forgot his name. I was like, what? But listen, guys, hopefully we just get somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. I just want an adult in the room. That's all you want. And that's why I'm going to say Mike McCarthy's my guy right now. Point blank. Who's your guy?
If I had to put a pick on it right now, I'm going to McCarthy.
You do. Gun to your head.
I'm not 100% sold on anyone just yet. I want to see the season play out, but gun to the head right now, McCarthy's the safe pick. He's going to turn around the team, and literally what we've done the past 3 years, he's going to get more wins next year.
How great would it be, by the way, for us as Giants fans, if hypothetically McCarthy comes in here, we build up the rest of the way, win a Super Bowl with him, and we get to laugh at Cowboys fans. We win a Super Bowl and get to laugh at the Cowboy fans that were doing it with their ex-coach.
And agree misses on the side.
Like I said, I love it. I love it. All right, guys, we're going to be back again, like I said, Wednesday, 9 p.m. As always, we are live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, also any kind of game day coverage as well, doing live play-by-plays and also post-game coverage. And, of course, random breaking news segments like we did today when Brian Daboll got fired. We'll be back again, like I said, Wednesday. As always, we are live on YouTube, the preferred platform, along with, of course, X/Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, guys, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. Appreciate you guys for listening in. As always, happy days for coming here, you guys, Giants fans. No matter what, we got nowhere to go but up. Let's be honest here. I hate to say it because I feel like we keep going downhill, but there's nowhere to go but up at this point. So we'll see you guys next time. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Happy G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm